to episode number 4 of a series we've been doing here, Event Pros, preparing today for tomorrow. And today I'm so excited to have Sheldon Fingler with us from Infinite Event Services. Welcome, Sheldon.
Well, thank you, Angela. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so how have you been doing?
Well, I think like much of the event industry, we're basically decimated. So COVID has come in and changed the landscape of industry, the landscape of the event industry for the foreseeable future. We were in the middle of a move to a new location. We were about 3/4 done when this started. We started moving on February 1st, and COVID sort of shut down the world on March 15th. So it's changed how we've been doing everything, including the lack of business, but it's kind of given us a chance to start to get organized in our new space, so that with every cloud, there's a silver lining.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just so our viewers understand, so let's maybe do a bit of a backtrack there. Your business specifically services what for the event industry?
So we are an event rental company. So we do tents, tables, chairs, wedding decor, backdrops, you name it, anything for an event. So we also offer DJ services and full production services. So we can do everything from a large concert series with outdoor stages to a small intimate boardroom meeting, over to a trade show, and then over to a wedding, and tents up to the 40 by 180 foot length size. So we're kind of a unique business. We do almost anything you can imagine. And that's actually sort of one of the things I pride myself on, is being different than all of the other rental companies, because we like to do everything in-house.
Right.
It reminds me of a big story, and a big event we did. We did a big group called PDW. It was a University of Alberta organized event for this group of pharmacists and pharmacy students from across Canada. And when we sat down doing the logistics of the event the one night, my team and I started to look around the room and see how many different vendors it would take for any other companies to do that event. And we figured it would take 7 different companies to source to do what we did all within our company. So we're kind of unique that way. Yeah.
So really, events is what you do. Like that's like the core of your business. So when COVID happened, that was just like like a shock, right?
It was like a cannon going off through our business. One day we were prepping orders, and ironically, that event, when COVID came right into fruition in our area, we were in the middle. We were setting up early for a customer. We had a customer having a big gala on the Saturday night, and they'd asked if we could set up on the Tuesday and Wednesday so they could go in and do some event photos. So my team went in on Tuesday and Wednesday, spent 2 full days. I think we totaled out at about 48 hours of labor setting up. We were finishing our setup on Wednesday at 4 o'clock-ish when we got the call from the organizer saying that they had to cancel.
Wow.
So, really, when it hit, it hit.
It did.
We were literally, like I say, right in the middle of setting up. So it was kind of crazy. I sent my team back to the shop for the night because it was later in the day. We turned the trucks on the next morning and headed back out, and packed up 2 days of work without an event, something that's virtually unheard of. And I've had similar stories from across Canada through some of my other event connections. A company out of Saskatoon set up for the Junos, and done the setup, and the call came in to cancel. So they were tearing down tents, they were taking out carpets, they were dismantling a setup that took a couple of weeks. So it
never got used for the actual event.
Yeah, nobody got to experience the work that was put in.
Wow. So were you able to reschedule a lot of your customers into 2021? Did a lot of them just cancel? Like what was your experience with that?
So we've been very honest with customers. We've been asking them to postpone. The pressure put on a small business at a time like this, a world pandemic,
Yeah.
can be devastating. A business like mine that literally just bought a new location, we were in the middle of a move. There's a million factors, financially, we spent $100,000 bringing in a new mezzanine, and we've got a new truck, and we just had a new stage, and all kinds of other things on the go. So when something like this comes in and shuts off your income literally, like instantly, we had to react. So we've been having very honest discussions with customers and saying, we would appreciate if you postpone, but we're also giving the honest incentive that we know after this that the industry rates are going to go up.
Yeah.
Because aren't going to be able to sustain this level of loss without some form of recuperation. So I'm giving all my customers that option and asking them to postpone. And by doing so, they're keeping their guaranteed rate interruption to that. So we're trying to be fair and work with them to something that works for everybody's benefit.
Absolutely. So what's your beat on this? Do you think events will be back? What do you think is going to happen as we start to dip our toes into this new landscape?
Well, events will be back. There's no question. Events are about emotion and connection. The reason people do events is to bring those people together, to have that moment, to share that experience. And that is one of the biggest things that we live for. So events will be back. Will they be changed? Absolutely. I think the new face of events will definitely be different. But we will be back to doing events, and we're all knocking on wood that it happens sooner rather than later. But the reality is safety first. So we have to do what we can to get back to that space as fast as possible, but while respecting the needs and that of the greater community.
Yeah, totally. So I gotta say, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of people in our industry is this isn't just what they do, it's an expression of who they are. So I gotta ask you, what got you into this to begin with, Sheldon? Like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking, Sheldon?
It's funny because my parents ask me that every day. My mom was one of my first employees, and they still think it's nuts. They wish I would have been a brain surgeon or something different. It started out rather ambiguous. I started out DJing with a gentleman that had a bad back, so I started helping him haul the equipment and stuff around when I was 14 years old. And that started into me DJing on my own before I was even 16. And through that time, I was DJing and doing it on the weekends. It was a part-time thing, and I was an emergency medical technician for a while, and then I ended up taking a job with a municipality. And when I left the organization, I was in the middle of a promotion. I was moving up to be senior director of facilities and services, and then somebody came along and said I was too young for that role.
Oh.
And yeah, it was an interesting time. So it ended up leading into them asking me to request a buyout, which I did, and I left that organization after 10 years, and I sat at home and I was kind of lost for a while, but I kept DJing. And that I started to talk to customers, and I kept hearing complaints about the rental industry and about the problems that customers were having and the ridiculous costs of some items. And, there was just a lot of different factors. So I was somewhat intrigued. So I've always had this philosophy of saying yes. When a customer wants something, we say yes, and then we figure it out. So talking about the need for rentals, and I said, well, I'm sure we could do that. And it started out with some chair covers and one wedding backdrop. And quickly it led to my garage being completely full, my living room being completely full, my parents' garage being full, and my parents' basement being full. And it slowly developed into that, and it just grew. And it was sometimes by small leaps, but other times by bigger ones. I went in because I had a customer wanting a popcorn machine one day. So I went to buy a popcorn machine. And when I was at that company, I noticed they had a rental fleet. And I said, well, have you ever got any interest in selling your rental fleet or getting rid of the rental business? Let me know. I'd love to expand into that. And lo and behold, it was 5 or 6 weeks later, they called me and they were looking to get out of the rental division. So we took over that, bought all of their inventory and had their customer base. And that led us into having a huge amount of concession equipment, popcorn machines, nacho machines, soft ice cream machines, slush machines, on and on and on. So that growth happened immediately. So some things were short and some things were long as far as the term of getting into it, but we've always just followed our customers and said yes.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So really, this has been in your blood for ever.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I started out doing the event side of things as a DJ, working part-time when I was 14 years old. So it's definitely been a big part of my life. And now, even through my family, my wife runs the office and takes care of things up front. My mom was working for me until she just recently retired. My dad would still hang around and help out when he can. And even they were just here the other day helping out, doing some little things. My oldest son works for me full-time. My middle child and my son there, he works for the company on weekends when he's not.
Awesome.
And my daughter reluctantly helps out when she has to. What it is when you have a family business, you've got to do what you've got to do to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what have you been doing? You've mentioned it a little bit. So you had just purchased a new space. So it's giving you some opportunity to get your stock organized. And what else have you been up to?
Yeah, so we started the move February 1st, and we were put behind. We had a mezzanine order to come in, and some production delays there, and some problems led for that to be a lot slower than anticipated. So that threw off our entire move-in schedule. So even at the end of March, we were still moving and doing stuff. And part of that is we had shipping containers at our old location. We have 20 of those giant 40-foot sea cans. And so we've actually been moving those to our new location, because even though we've moved into a larger space, if anybody knows rental industry, we're basically a moving and a storage company. So we are constantly moving and we're constantly storing stuff. And our inventory grows typically during the summer months when we're not during a COVID experience. Our inventory will expand by about $100,000 a month. So we're buying new linens, new event items, new set pieces every day. We went to a rental show in Florida right before this all happened as well, and we inked deals on $100,000 worth of new equipment just at that show alone over a couple of days. So this downtime has given us a chance to catch up. So we're moving sea cans, we're organizing the warehouse, we're getting further ahead so that when the world does open up, we're going to be able to serve our customers in a very fast and efficient manner. And that was the reason we moved, was to gain efficiencies. Our old location, we were split over 3 different buildings, and it made it really hard. So the new location gives us an opportunity to be way more efficient and serve our customers better. So we've just been focusing on cleaning up to be prepared for that.
Yeah. So interesting. You're preparing for tomorrow. So even though you're not doing any events right now, obviously, it's like you never stop. There's always something that you can do when you look at how I did things before. Okay, well, now this is an opportunity for me to kind of re-examine our systems, get streamlined, get efficient, and how we can up our customer service and our offering and value to our customers when the world starts to regain events and get in that space again.
Absolutely. And part of that, I have to rely on my team as well. When this all came down, I did lay off some team members, but then as soon as the government announced any form of wage subsidy, my commitment was to my staff. So I brought them back right away.
Awesome.
My key players. And I've allowed them, because they're truly as important as anything to the organization. So I've been letting them help set up how we're streamlining and organizing things. And they did some changes to our tent section. And I was blown away when I saw it the other day walking out. I've been helping, but that day, a couple of days I wasn't able to. I was doing some other meeting stuff. And when I looked at what they'd achieved, it was absolutely astounding. And what they did was they built us up for success. They created new systems, they created better organization. So when we do start doing tents again, we're going to be able to prep for that job at least 50% faster than we could before based on their improvements. So that's important because it's not only, it's good for financially because we're going to save money on the prep time, but it's good emotionally because people, when they walk in and everything's easy to grab and it's ready and it's organized, they feel good about it. There's that sense that they could achieve their goal faster, which makes them feel better. So that's a big part of what we're doing too, is involving them in all of those decisions, but letting them lead it so that they're showing us how to be better.
You know what I really hear as well from you right now, Sheldon, is this is a leadership lesson. Like a huge leadership lesson for those out there who really struggled and had the big challenge of having to let people go just to keep their business afloat, but being able to bring them back right away and to have that, treat the people well, your team well, they paid you back. They paid you back with that. And when you invest in them, they will invest back into the business. And that's really great that you were able to do that.
And you're 100% right, you know. And they are my key players that I brought back right away, the guys that have been with me for the longest time. And I even told them when I laid them off that first day, I felt horrible. And I said, I don't care what it costs me personally. I'll empty my personal savings to top you guys up and keep you where your money was, even on EI, because you guys have done so much to allow me to get to where I am today that I owe it to you. And that's just really my commitment, is with my people, I am nothing. And, you know, I've got lots of, to me, leadership is everything. And I don't think you can push a team. I think you pull a team. And I expect a lot out of my people. There's times we work a lot of long hours, but I never have to worry because my team are invested because they care, and they care about me and the business because I care about them. And I think people need to realize that as business owners. A lot of times people don't value their teammates. And, you know, there's no such thing as employer-employee. We are all on the same team, and our job is to serve a customer. And they do that for me, but I do that for them because it's all the same.
Yeah, actually, leadership is the greatest service, because you can't be a great leader if you're thinking everyone there is to bow down and to follow everything that you're saying. And just because you're a leader, respect isn't something that they just hand over, it's earned. And so when you really value people and you come from that service attitude and how you can serve and support them, that is where you really get that respect and that pull. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love those stories. So it sounds like they're pretty busy getting things sorted and ready to go for tomorrow, and doing well in that.
They definitely are, and we're, again, it's changing stuff every day because it's a new space. It's a very odd opportunity to gain out of such a bad situation, giving us the opportunity to prepare better. Because had we been faced with a busy summer on the heels of moving in, we would have been suffering by looking for items. You know, today alone, we were looking for a certain piece, and it took us, with 4 of us looking, it took us about an hour because not everything's organized yet.
Yeah.
So it's very important that doesn't happen when you're busy.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, I've been kind of really paying attention to what the conversations are out there in social media and what have you, and people feel very hesitant and, not, I don't think that things are back to normal. I don't know what the new normal will even look like. I think that events will be back, but what that looks like will change. Do you have any thoughts and predictions and things that you're, preparing for that, what that could look like?
Oh, it's definitely going to change. Pardon me. I think the reality is it's going to evolve. I think it's going to be different every step of the way. So I think we're going to start and everyone's going to be scared. And when we go to events, there's going to be hand sanitizer stations everywhere, and there's going to be social distancing. And as that wears away, because people actually become fatigued with concern. People, that constant worrying about COVID, it starts to tire people out. And they get to a point where it no longer becomes as important because they're just tired of it. So they get in and they start to relax a bit. And, that will change as well. So it's going to evolve. It's going to change. When they come up with some form of cure or vaccine or whatever, then everything will probably turn way different again. So, I think the reality is the starting point is going to be difficult because nobody will know what it is. There's bars and restaurants are going to start opening right away, and they don't know what it's going to be like. I've got friends in the industry of all different levels. I've got a friend that owns a comedy club. I've got a friend that does music bingo in lounges and bars, and none of them know. We all keep predicting what we think,
Yeah.
but it's changing so rapidly. It's almost getting hard to predict because it changes by the hour.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that ultimately, even if there is different regulations and what have you, it's also going to be really important to consider how people are feeling engaging. Like what's going to make people feel safe, but like I'm in a good space, I'm okay here. And yeah, like I think those regulations are important, but I think that there's going to be two sides. I see a live stream in the future being a really big thing. Blended events where you maybe have some of it live and some of it live stream.
There's huge differences already in place and being looked at from people all over different regions. Mm-hmm. There's churches around that are doing drive-in services.
Yeah.
There's, I'm working with different groups and their graduations on possible solutions. Is there an opportunity to stream certain portions of it? Is there an opportunity? We're talking about doing an outdoor graduation with one group where we have an outdoor stage and we bring people in small groups through to walk the stage and do sanitizing and social distancing and transmit the grad over an FM broadcast system so that people in their cars can hear and honk when the kids graduate. So
yeah,
there's changes. It's a matter of how we react. And, part of the problem is one event goes ahead in one regards, like there's church happening with FM transmitters, but the health service organizations are shutting down graduations with the exact same parameters. So there are so many different variables that affect how the events can go forward.
Yes.
That it's still a matter of figuring it out. So it's about being creative and adapting as it goes forward. And that's our goal. We're really focusing on the different trends. I'm on the executive of the Canadian Rental Association. I'm a member of the Canadian Event Professionals, and I'm always looking for different opportunities and different ways to learn. And I'm talking to peers from all different regions across Canada to find out what's working, what's not working. Saskatchewan's starting to release a little bit sooner than us, so I've got friends there that I'm really in touch with to find out what's going to happen first and what they're seeing. Because if I can even be 3 days more prepared here, that could make an incredible difference for my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And it's all about innovation and being flexible. In our world, this is the ultimate, the biggest thing to think about is how people are feeling and the safety, and then just kind of planning around that and then going from there. But
yeah, and definitely you're right with how people feel.
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't matter what the legislation says. It doesn't matter what they say is an acceptable level of group activity. What matters is how comfortable people are doing that. That will dictate how we react and how we change and go forward. Because if they open up the bars tomorrow and nobody goes, then things have to change. So
Yeah.
it's being able to immediately react and follow people's concerns. And if the customers don't feel 50% occupancy is suitable, then we have to decide if, as business owners, maybe 20% is acceptable to the customer, not to the people that are making the laws.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So on a lighter note, what have you taken up any new hobbies? What's been going on for you personally? We were having a hair discussion earlier.
Yeah, we were having a hair discussion because I'm constantly embarrassed, even though I'm balding. You know, it's just like it's crazy how long our hair is getting.
Sheldon, don't cut your hair. Don't do it.
Well, you know, I started the COVID challenge when this started. I quit shaving.
Okay.
I was starting to get this wonderful growth of hair on my face, but it was horrible to deal with. It was constantly driving me nuts with being itchy and stuff. So I had to quit the challenge. So that was, you know, one thing. But I'm dying for a haircut. I'm dying to get out and do things again. I've actually been so involved in still moving and doing things at work. I typically work 7 days a week, and I've limited myself to 6 days a week on most weeks now. So I'm still going to work every day, so I'm not changing my routine a lot. I'm going to my Rotary meetings via Zoom, and I'm helping host those and doing other things like that. So I'm not changing my routine a lot. I'm definitely having some time in the evenings. And now that some of the rules are lightening up, I might get to go out with my kids on the boat fishing or something, maybe, who knows. But a lot of it's just been the same old, just keep up the work. And I've been known for a saying that I created years ago, that if it takes 8 hours to survive, it takes 16 hours to thrive. And it entails the fact that you have to work hard when you're a business owner. You can't sit back. You can't stop. So last night I attended a 2-hour Zoom presentation from a business owner in Edmonton. And he's a friend of mine. He's an industry leader. So I watched him and his business presentation on branding and marketing and logos. And I learned stuff about the golden rule of logo design that I'd never heard of before. So it was an incredible opportunity to learn. So I'm not going to sit home and watch YouTube all day. I'm going to watch things that help me learn, or read a book and do things that help make this an opportunity to come out of a better person.
Absolutely. And there is opportunity in that, right? There absolutely is. Yeah, taking the opportunity. It's been so nice to see families going for walks. That's been lovely to see. And, you know, spending a little bit more time doing some of those things that we maybe wouldn't have made room for. So it's nice to be able to just take those breaks and definitely do that. So in wrapping up, Sheldon, I've got to ask you, you've had a lot of really wise words for us. What would be a piece of advice or a thought that you'd like to share with other people in the event industry right now that are maybe kind of going through some struggles and as they're facing some of the challenges before us?
It's such an easy answer, and it is create connections. When you've got an opportunity like this, that you're not working and running around and doing the stuff you normally would be doing, create connections. I've learned more by talking to people across Canada than I could ever gain in any other way, just by reaching out and talking to them. I've been phoning other rental companies. I've been reaching out to people in Edmonton. I've been reaching out to people in different areas. Network. Talk to people, ask them what they're doing, ask for ideas, give suggestions, help other people. Anything you can do to create relationships through this will make your business better, because that will come back to you in many, many other ways through the years to come.
Absolutely. That's fantastic advice. And that's really what this is about. I mean, this is about a community. coming together. And when I think things start to get busy, we're gonna be running. So taking the time to make those connections today is really a fabulous way to prepare for tomorrow. Thanks so much, Sheldon, for taking the time to meet with us today. And if it's okay with you, we'd love to stay in touch as we move through the next chapters of our journey here.
Well, absolutely. And thank you for having me, Angela. I believe what you're doing is fantastic. And the platform that you've given us as business people to share our information is something that the industry needs now more than ever. So your leadership is definitely noticed as well, and we appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much. Cheers, Sheldon. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks so much, Sheldon, for joining us today. What a great guy. I mean, and a leader to really be so committed to his staff, to bring them back and to just be there. And what a leadership lesson to see how the staff responded for him doing that. Just wow. So thanks so much for that, Sheldon. And looking forward to some future episodes, Event Pros, preparing today for tomorrow. And we've got some real doozies coming up, so you're not going to want to miss those. So we are so excited about where this is going. And to just encourage you all out there, take care and be safe. Cheers.